Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Microsoft 365 Business Boost Show. I got my guy Nick here, Nick DeCourcy. Nick, what's going on?
How you
Um,
doing?
I'm Thurman Trotman, and today, if you're joining us again, welcome back. If you're new, what we do here is we talk to the business owners, the decision makers, about how you can use technology, particularly Microsoft 365 and other Microsoft tools, period, to boost your business. You know what I'm saying? What do you need to know about these tools in order to better work your business and make it easier for you and the folks that work in your organization? So, Nick, you had a situation. It's rare that we'll have a show where we don't talk about AI, but you actually
Yeah,
have
we
an
always talk about
AI.
AI.
Yeah, you actually have an AI personal story that happened to you this
Hmm.
past week, right?
Yeah, according to
Um,
AI, I am now a dentist.
okay, let's
So,
hear about it. Can I can
yeah,
I uh
I'll
can I
be
call you Dr. DeCourcy? Is that all right? Can I call you Dr.
well,
DeCourcy?
that would be my wife, but,
Okay.
if you sent mail with that on, someone in my house would get it, so that's
Okay.
okay. But yeah, I wrote about this on LinkedIn this week, and I think this is an interesting, cautionary tale about AI. So my company is called Bright Ideas Agency, and
Mhm.
I think that the bright part of that probably came into this a little bit. I got an email, a marketing email representing a company, and it was a very nice email. They had gone to my website and found out that I do digital transformation, and found out that I'd written a book about AI, and complimented my work in the space, and nice email. The problem with it was that the company that sent me this email, or was being represented in this email, is a company that sells supplies to dentists. And specifically, if you're a dental company that buys at least $1,000 of dental supplies per month, then they can help you out. And the email suggested that they could help me out in my business by selling me dental supplies. Either they
Mhm.
know something about my business that I don't know, or something went very wrong here. And so I looked down the email, and obviously this was generated by AI.
Mhm.
And I think what had happened here was, obviously, I think with the name of the company, probably there's a lot of dental companies that are called like Bright Smiles or Bright Teeth or whatever it may be. I'm English. I don't know anything about this like dental care stuff, but I'm sure that there's a lot of companies like that out there in the space.
Mhm.
But it had gone to the lengths of looking at everything on my website, working out what I do, and still nothing in their system had said, "Hey, stop! This isn't the right type of company to be sending this message to." So I got it, and it's interesting because it was a commercial. I won't necessarily name the companies involved in this, but it was a commercial operation designed to send people marketing emails with AI, and they marketed themselves as an autonomous system for doing this.
Mhm.
And to my point of view, this is a cautionary tale. There are lots of services out there like this right now. You probably get emails trying to get you to sign up for this kind of thing, or you
All the
see
time.
this kind of thing. And the AI tools just aren't there yet. And if you're doing this, if you're going out there and saying, "Hey, I can use this tool to send 1,000 emails to targeted people," you're not doing anything that's that much more sophisticated than just buying a list of email addresses, and sending email out to them. And most businesses, I mean, there are some businesses that do that. I think that's a bar that a lot of businesses don't want to cross, of just sending random emails out to people.
Mhm.
But AI doesn't add a lot to that right now. I mean, for every email that goes out that's right, there might be half of one, that's wrong. Like, it's not going to get a good hit rate, and I see a lot of these. But this one I just thought was particularly funny because I started reading this email, and I was like, I'm not a dental care company. This isn't what I do.
I know you said it's not there yet, but that's the thing I want to touch on. How is it not there yet? This doesn't seem like a difficult task. Go through the website, put together some thoughts,
Hmm?
and then make a decision. Is this person in our audience that we would send this email to? No, then do not proceed with the next step. Yeah, your next step is to go to the next website, curate the information, then make a decision. You mean to tell me the AI is not there yet? Because I feel like maybe the AI, there's no way the AI is not there yet. Maybe you just train that AI incorrectly, or you are not using a good technology when it comes to your AI. How could AI not do that properly?
I think that's the problem. I think that's the you've hit the nail on the head of not using the right technology. I've actually this whole scenario sent me off in a direction where I've made a video that's going to be coming out later this week, probably about why AI gets stuff wrong, why Copilot gets stuff wrong,
Mm,
and I think that foundationally, what we've got right now is we see that we're in the middle of an AI bubble, but we're not in the middle of an AI bubble. We're in the middle of a generative AI bubble. We're in the middle of a bubble of AI that is built on top of large language models.
hmm.
And so, what certain companies are doing, SaaS products are springing up that are built pretty directly on top of the APIs that you might get for something like GPT-4 or Claude or whatever it may be.
Right.
And these models are really good at certain stuff, but they really suck at other things. That's what we're seeing. Like, it's a creative technology that's very good at predicting what is the next word that's going to come in a string of words. That's,
Hmm.
that's what it's
Hmm.
good at. It's not good at logical reasoning. This isn't what this technology is good at. And so, unless you're doing something else with your tooling, where you're like trying to extract certain entities from the data that you're getting from the website and then checking the content of those entities against kind of an allow list of what type of business you're sending out to, then you're kind of in some ways just rolling the dice based on
Yep.
what does this tool think is going on versus the reality of what actually is there. And this is why right now you need a human in the loop. Like, this is
Yes.
not effort elimination. This is effort reduction. You know, if you want to send out 1,000 emails a day using an AI tool, would you be better off sending 150, 200 emails a day that a human actually gets a chance to look at?
Right.
That are good emails that don't make you look silly. You know,
Right.
like I don't have a particularly big platform to write about this stuff and talk about this stuff, but I mean, some people do. And if you inadvertently sent that email to the wrong person who decides to hold this up as this is an example of bad AI, that could be catastrophic for your company.
Right.
So don't do it. Don't just don't do it. The technology isn't there right now.
But you need multiple players in this too. You need the first one to whip up, and I'm gonna say whip up and emphasize whip up a program to say, hey, we can do this. And then you got to take it to market and
Mm,
get some folks to buy in. So then the next player is somebody buys in or somebody's, you know what I'm saying? Some companies buy it. And then they go, okay, yeah, I like what this can do. Let's do it. And then we kick it off. And now you have this company on behalf of you running this program, sending out these emails. So there's multiple players involved that have to agree in order for this to happen. And then once it happens, you get this. This is, to your point. If your platform is like large, this is a big deal. I think if your platform is small too, it's still a big deal, but it's even bigger if your platform is large. And you had to agree into that. There's no company that's like, hey, we're gonna make this thing and then just do it on your behalf. You still have to agree into that. But before you make that agreement, check into it. You know what I'm saying? Like that could easily be snake oil salesman whips it up, and then person who wants to take shortcuts buys in. Like you have to have those two
mm,
things going on.
mm, mm,
But
mm, mm,
that doesn't work in any realm. It doesn't matter what you're doing. The shortcuts don't have any value that you think that they have. They don't work as well as not taking the shortcut. So it's important to, as you say, add that human in there. If you're going to do this agreement with somebody, put a project manager over that project, or have someone on the team be in charge of reviewing these emails before they go out. And to your point, maybe we won't get 1,000 out, but we can get 100 out with you reviewing them. And then also, This is why I said AI is as important as finance, or will be, because it's going to touch every single facet. You know what I'm saying? Everything is going to touch everything, just like money's involved with everything. So if you are going to invite AI into your world, you need to know a little something. You know what I'm saying? You need to have used an AI tool and try to write your own emails, maybe 4 or 5 of them, and you said this thing is good. I like this, but you also got a chance to see how it's not good at certain things. So
Yeah,
you have some basic understanding of what it is. So that when the company comes in and they go, hey, listen, we can get you 1,000 emails a day out with no problem.
mm,
Before you go, oh yeah, I like that. You go, wait a minute, show me. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me see a few of these. You know what I'm saying? What would this work like? Like, how does this look? Because I've used it and I don't think it can really do that well. Do you have
mm,
something that
mm.
does
Mm.
it better than the prompts that I'm putting in there and all this other stuff? Like, have some basic understanding of AI before you just go off in the wind and you say, all right, yeah, let's do it. 1,000 emails a day with no problem. Then you end up in a situation where you're emailing Nick, the newly crowned dentist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't need like 10 sets of dentures to sell on, like I have enough stuff that I'm doing without trying that. I think you're right, Thurman. It's like we live we live we kind of live in this time where um these things come and go, and what's important isn't the quality of what you produce, it's the quality of how you big it up,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it frustrates me. And you can see this even with the largest tech company. You can see it even with a product like Copilot. Like Copilot is a product that I believe is a very useful product that can help most knowledge workers. But I don't believe that it's as great as Microsoft seems to believe it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you listen, if you simply took what Microsoft says about it and sat down with this product, having watched some demos and listened to what they say, and
Mm.
then sat down with it and tried to use the product, it simply doesn't live up to the hype. And I think this is a problem. You don't need to, the marketing people have taken over.
Yeah,
What the reality of what a product is, or what a product can do, or what the basic capabilities of a technology is, that reality is irrelevant to companies in this space at this point. Like, what is relevant is how can we create a marketing hype that makes people believe that this better than the next guy. And I think that's so damaging to everything that we do now, because I think it leads to a lot of this nonsense that you get in your email or text messages or whatever it is. But it also leads to a lot of frustration, because the average Joe who's running a small business isn't bought into this crap that we get
yeah.
from tech company A and tech company B. As I say, I like Copilot. I think it's a really useful product. I think everyone who's a knowledge worker could benefit from it and should have a license for it. But that doesn't mean that I buy into every single thing that Microsoft has to say about it.
I believe that what they're advertising is where it will be eventually. It's gonna
Yeah,
get
but
there.
imagine if we did that with a car. Imagine if you did that with a new kitchen that you bought.
Yeah, you can't
Imagine
do
if
that.
you like it just doesn't work. If you take that and you transpose it onto a different type of product, it just doesn't work. And
Those
I c-
industries don't have that luxury of being able to do that. It's software.
exactly, I can't sell my services on the basis of the things that I might know next year. Have my training today. I'll know more about this next year. It doesn't make any sense, does
Yeah, yeah,
it?
yeah. I'm with you.
Like, I'll train you on this. I know nothing about it, but I'm learning. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but this is just the way that this works, and I get a lot of pushback from people who are in the technology content space.
Mhm.
I've seen this when I will call this out and say, this product should do what people are saying it does do. To, like, if I see a demo from Microsoft of Copilot that says Copilot does this, that language is important. That's not Copilot may be able to do this in the future. That's not we hope to get there next year. That's it does it. Like, if I've seen a demo of a product and then that product is released, I believe it's a reasonable expectation for every person who's bought that product to believe that everything that's been demoed ahead of that, if there's no caveat given to it, the product should be able to do it.
I agree.
And I get massive pushback sometimes from people in the technology content space say, well, that's not how we develop products now. And I'm like, well, that's the problem I'm highlighting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the average person expects if you've seen something, do something, and then you buy that product, it could do it.
It's
And
always
if it
been that
can't,
way.
then it's broken.
And that's not nothing, that's not something new, but this stuff has been brought to the masses where a company will come into your organization, demo something, show you all these bells and whistles, and then when you get it, you don't get what you saw in the demo. It'll be like, yeah, we showed you that, but in order to get that, you got to buy this module and buy that module. We was
Mm,
showing you like the souped up version. You know what I mean?
all the time, all the
That
time.
that's a normal thing, but now, if you remember the Super Bowl commercial, Microsoft released that Super Bowl commercial before the Super Bowl. I remember seeing it on LinkedIn, and the comment I made was, "This is the best Microsoft commercial I've ever seen." You know what I'm saying? Because the they sold the heck out of Copilot. They made it look so good because, again, the commercial was the best commercial I've ever seen from Microsoft. Not necessarily, hey, this is the best technology Microsoft has ever offered. It was just the best commercial I've ever seen from them. And that's literally what it was.
It certainly isn't just Microsoft, and
Right.
I do genuinely believe that this is a big problem in this entire market. And out of the big tech companies, I do think that Microsoft is fairly up there in terms of trying to do this responsibly.
Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
I just think the bar is so low right now that you can still be doing things that are really, I think you have to question the ethics of it
Mm.
when you've got people who are senior people in a business like Microsoft that are involved in recording demos of a product, and something very clearly means one thing, and what the end result is something else. I think is very unethical, and
And frustrating.
I it's extremely frustrating, and I know a lot of people are frustrated with it. But as I say, there's a lot of people in the kind of tech content pushing this out community that are just like, well, this is the way things develop now, and I will never just accept this as the reality of how it has to be. Like I believe that being honest in the way you talk about things is incredibly important. um, I mean, that's effectively like we both work as consultants for businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we cannot do our jobs by lying about products or lying about capabilities. Like at some point, you have to have someone come in who's got an expertise where you believe what it is they're saying because they tell you the truth.
Now,
That's what their reputation is based
I will agree with you to a certain extent. I personally cannot do my job lying.
on.
But I've seen other companies, whether intentionally or unintentionally, I don't get it. They are comfortable being sensational. They like to sensationalize. And that can mean being a little unethical, even meaning lying. It depends on what we're talking about or what they're talking about. I feel very confident when I'm telling you what I know. If I
Hmm.
don't know the thing, I'm going to say I don't know, but I can ask or I can find out. I can do a little research, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that guy that's going to, try to lie about it. I could care
Yeah.
less because I know what I do know. But you can be a company that is good at, hey, we can do this and we can do that. And of course, I could do this and do that because that person might be separated from the technology. They're just marketing or they're promoting and they know how to make something sound good. Just give me the footnotes and I got it. That might be their world. And then when you buy in, you end up with less than what you were told. For
Mhm, mhm,
instance,
mhm,
this company, let's just say they were reached out to by a salesperson or a
mhm,
marketing person who did
mhm,
a really good job of telling them, listen, 1,000 emails, 500 emails, looking like this sent to these people. We run through the websites, we check this out, and then whatever, whatever. And then the company goes, okay, you know what? I like that. Then the tech guys come in there, start to do the work, and it's like they're doing the right thing, but maybe the company oversold it by only telling them all the good stuff, not letting them know there could be some mistakes made and how often those mistakes are made and all this other stuff. So there is, I agree that I personally and you, we do our job a certain way. But there are folks who are very confident in saying things that are not necessarily true and do some good business off of it. I don't know how that works. I really don't because it's not the world that I play in. But apparently Microsoft is trying to, combat. They're trying to keep up. Maybe the marketing people understand the internet and how you have to do and say things now versus the tech folks who are like, listen, we're back here working hard trying to build this tech up. You out there overselling it. You need to relax.
That is what I hope is the case. Like I certainly look at this and I hope that's the case. That in these companies like Microsoft and Google and so on and so forth, there are product people, technology experts that are as frustrated by some of this messaging as some of the customers are, and I believe that to be the case for these more AI focused SaaS startups like the one that sent me this email that we were talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily sure that's such a like my experience of working with some of them and having been that have them try to sell to me is not necessarily that that's the case. I think that there is a big um, gulf between the intentions of maybe the people who start out these businesses and the people who are delivering the technology. Um, like I
Hmm.
think I think that could be a problem. There's a lot of we don't have our own developers. We offshore this to different teams, and depending on the scale of it, and there's a lot of potential for things to be lost in those various steps of
Yep.
communication.
That's normal.
As you say, and I think this is very dangerous. And yeah, I think the other thing, Thurman, is if you're a business owner that's being sold on some of these things, then you have to think about it. Like, what would be the corollary of this in the real world? Like, if you were to go and buy something, buy a service, and it didn't have just this digital component, I think sometimes that makes us feel safer. Let's get it right. Let's do our due diligence and let's pretend like this is a real world item. Would you be sitting there with a stack of 10,000 magazines or mailings in the corner of your office that you're just going to stick stamps on and start mailing them to random businesses?
Right.
Or would you do a little bit more due diligence before you took that 50 cents or 60 cents, I forget what they are now, a first class stamp, and stuck it on there and sent them all out? Because ultimately, your reputation in your business is worth a heck of a lot more than the upfront costs in doing any of these things, whether we think about AI or whether we think about physical mailing. And it may seem like an easy workaround, but I don't think it is. I just think that ultimately there are lots of companies that are destroying their ability to build a reputation with customers by over relying on these nascent technologies.
But okay, I got a but here.
Okay.
Um, think about the major, and this is before AI became commoditized, but think about the major news sites or major websites, period.
Mm,
For a long time, you know that when you scroll down to after reading a news article, you have this section of these terrible ads, right? Like these really bad ads that were
yeah.
probably AI generated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it's like, let's see what the content is that they're reading, or what were they reading across the internet? Let's serve them these kind of ads, and they're spamming. You know what I'm saying? Where or BS, spam and BS, where you look at the ad and it'll have a weird picture that doesn't look
Mhm.
real. It'll have a headline that's probably a lie. Hey, this person you haven't seen in 7 years, look at what they look like now. if you click on something like that, you're probably going to go to another website with a ton of more ads. And then the thing that you originally looked for, you can no longer find. The reason I bring this up is because that has become acceptable on major websites. So if you go to something like a one of these Fox News or CNN or whatever your style is, you go to the bottom of their webpage, their legitimate webpage, and you're being served these terrible ads. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And
mm,
these ads are foolishness. I believe that has become accepted in the world of the internet to where that's an AI thing. But now that we have AI in the hands of everybody, I feel like more things will be more acceptable. Like this email that you got.
mm, 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 mm,
You could look at that and be like, what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? Where somebody else could look at what we're talking about right now and be like, that's just, it's the internet. We get it. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna get some bad emails that makes no sense and blah, blah, blah. That is probably the danger, is where what becomes more acceptable, which is like bad technology, bad decision making, because that's really what it is bad decision making. You're allowed to make mistakes, but consistent bad decision making can become the norm. And that's what that
mm,
is.
mm,
You know what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm,
Because the ads at the bottom of the websites, bad emails, not even just the one that you got, but like there's a big issue on LinkedIn, people complaining about AI comments. Those started a few months ago, but now they're becoming commonplace where if you see them, before you would probably be like, this is annoying, this is terrible, LinkedIn needs to do something, to where we might be forced into, that's just the way it is. More bad decision making by somebody who thought they could AI comment their way through, building a business or whatever.
mm,
Man,
mm.
I did not that didn't even process. I didn't even process that until you started saying what your last statement.
I think it's everywhere. Like when you start looking at it, it's insidious. Like we are already like it took several years for us to get to a point where we started to see in major ways the downsides of social media. Right, to start off with, if you think about it, I think today is the 21st birthday of LinkedIn. I saw,
Oh, really?
so these things have now been around for nearly 20 years. I think Facebook came a year later, um, and it took a while for us to start really understanding what the downsides of social media were. I don't think it's going to take years for us to understand what the downsides of generative AI are. I think we're already seeing them all around us, and the same things that. What's the sell of something like Copilot? It's that you've got this ding, 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 ding of your email and your phone and your messages and so on, and it's just continuous, right? And one of the things that we're trying to do is to help people deal with that, and it does help people deal with that. But if on one side your tool to deal with it is just being inundated by the same tool over here used by someone else to create more of this rubbish, you know, it's not going to work. Like at some point, you have to get rid of the rubbish, and I think this is what it is. That you've got there is so much content out there about, generate stuff with AI, and you'll make this amount of money, and so I just it blows my mind. And the thing is, there's so much of it that at least some of it must be working, right?
People,
It wouldn't
yes,
exist.
people will people. You can't change that. People are going to do the thing that they always do. Something is new, the right people get on top of it, craft the right messaging, and sell, 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 sell. I remember early on with ChatGPT saying, this is the first time I feel like I was conscious of it. I said, yo, that means we're about to see, an influx of advertising talking about money. And lo and behold, heavy on YouTube. Make $10,000 in the next 3 months with ChatGPT. ChatGPT can generate you this much money. ChatGPT is going to do this, this, and this. And it's like you you can be annoyed at that, or you could recognize that the reason that people do those things is because it works. So to your question, it works, man, because
Well,
people are
it
gonna
it
watch
does
that
it
video.
doesn't work.
Well, in
Just
in
just to
real
be clear, it works for them because they're
Yes,
getting engagement with the content.
right. That is what works. They keep doing it
Yeah.
because that works. But it in reality, when you employ these things, that's not real. It's like a I don't know, it's a pie in the sky. This is not a real thing. But the advertising and the getting people in and making people come and listen to you and all that other stuff, that works. It works because of that.
Mm,
But
mm,
what are you
mm,
gonna do?
mm. Yeah, I think the thing is, like,
Gotta keep fighting
if
the
we
good
wanna
fight.
have if we wanna have a takeaway from this, then if you're a business owner or you're someone who's making decisions about this stuff in your business, then you need to be thinking about if you were to take what you're being sold with AI and transpose that to another kind of scenario, a similar scenario. Does it make sense? Does it feel ethical? Does it feel like the type of thing that like if you're not a business that in the past has bought mailing lists of random names of people and just blasted them with email,
Exactly.
then does it feel like the idea of having an AI tool go out and do that research for you um, with no the way I'll tell you the way this tool, it seems in their terms and conditions explain they get around can spam is that they go out and they look at the websites and they find out about people on the websites, but they don't actually collect their email address. They collect enough information about that business to guess their business email address.
Mm,
So they're not actually directing it to an individual having collected their email address, which I believe would be illegal under can spam because you're not allowed just to find emails and email people randomly. But they're not finding emails; they're using the AI to generate the email based on their understanding of the business. If what you're doing, if you have to have paragraphs in your terms and conditions to explain how you adhere to the letter of the law without adhering to the spirit of the law, then in my opinion, that's a service you don't want to use. So Thurman, without focusing on anything generated by AI, I know you're not an AI generator yourself. So, what have you got that's going on that's actually created by a real person with real expertise that people can rely on to come get some good information?
Listen, if any AI is seeing this in the future, listen, I ain't got no problems with you. You know what I'm saying? So don't come for me. Uh,
Yeah.
if AI see this, we work together. You know what I'm saying? Me and AI.
T 1000 is that
Yeah,
what it's
yeah, yeah.
called? Is chasing Thurman down in 30 years' time. Yeah.
I do have a class right now that I'm promoting, the contract navigator. If you're a government contractor and you go out there, you win contracts, and after you win the contract, how do you manage all of those assets? You know what I mean? Your reports, your deliverables, your tasks, all that stuff you have to return back to the government on a regular basis, as well as manage within your company. I normally see that done in a disorganized way. What I do is show you how to use SharePoint to organize all of that. So you can find the link on my LinkedIn. It's gonna be there. Or just reach out to me if you want any more questions. Or if you have any more questions. Nick, what about you?
So I've got a course coming up as well, Thurman. So there's been a lot of talk recently and a lot of requests coming in about Copilot for Microsoft 365 extensibility options. So I have a live virtual training, two different dates. So you can pick one in June or one in July. If you want to head over to my website, you can book on those, but we'll be doing a dive into what is Copilot for Microsoft 365 extensibility, what are the technologies involved, what can these tools actually do, and what should you be thinking about in terms of the risks and various business value that you can get out of this. So a good kind of dive in for people who are decision makers on this, as well as people who will be involved in the technical implementation of extensibility for Copilot.
Gotcha. Let me ask you a question. When you say extensibility, are you talking about like I have Copilot inside of Microsoft 365, it's
Mm,
working, it's rocking and rolling, but hey, I
mm.
want to also connect it to a possible external app?
Yeah, exactly. So even those companies that are most integrated with Microsoft 365 generally have at least some things that run in systems elsewhere,
Yeah.
whether that be your finance system or something like that. So the idea of extensibility is that you can add knowledge or skills to Copilot for Microsoft 365 to allow it to work with data that isn't inside Microsoft 365. So
Oh,
this is a
yeah, I like
very
that.
powerful option to get the most value out of this. Once you've got people who are really understanding how to use natural language to get things done every day with Copilot, why not extend that into your other systems and get value from it there as well?
Yeah, because the value is that the internal stuff, and we don't expose that, but
Mm.
you also know the external stuff, and you can use both sets of information to make decisions to help.
Exactly, and
Oh,
I
that's
think
beautiful. That's
I
beautiful.
think this is like one of the there's lots of positive things about Copilot. I think over the next year, this is going to become the biggest differentiator for Copilot versus other products
Yeah,
because you're going to be
very
able to get
important.
it to talk to everything. So yeah, come along, book onto that. I've got that book in. Registration is open right now.
Good deal. All right. Link in the comments. All right, Nick, it's been great. I'm gonna see you next time.
All right, see you, Thurman. Take care.
All right, see ya.